All right, welcome to feedback of Lesson Plan 2, the SciPoc, the Charter, and the CTQ tree. First, let's talk about the Charter. I don't have any examples to share of the Charter. If you watched the video, you did it on the Big Mac process, which had a lot of information to go on. If you didn't watch the video, you did it on some other process. Um, and I know that because there was directions in the video that you may or may not have heard. But that was pretty straightforward. The charter template is a template that's pretty well laid out, so it's not difficult to kind of difficult to do wrong. But some of you oversimplified it. Uh, Maybe you ran out of time. I know we all put different effort into things. All right, so let's get into the SciPoc, and so I grabbed some examples. I saw this template quite often. It's great. It's colorful. It comes in handy. I chose this one because a couple of you did feeding the dogs, as I have past semesters students doing feed the dogs. I picked this one because it was one of the more in-depth feeding the dogs. So Petco being the supplier, a lot of good inputs: the food, resources, dishes, the schedule, money, and there's the process identifying the schedule and health needs. It came to the outputs where it kind of set itself apart. Timely delivery, quantity, health, weight, profits, right? Shareholders of pet business, and then these added requirements. So it kind of just went a little above and beyond. I thought that was a really good example of an in-depth SciPoc on a very simple feeding the dog process. And then here's a SciPoc for tuning a guitar, it would appear. Inputs being the strings and the tuner, needles, pliers, cleaner, paper towel, everything that goes into a garbage can. A good amount of process steps, in depth without being critically in depth. Covered the outputs well, the restrung guitar, used paper towels and guitar strings, full garbage, and then garbage pickup. So again, it covered all the bases using Excel. So it wasn't straight across 4 outputs, 8 inputs, 2 customers, 3 suppliers, right? It's all over the place, which is good, right? SciPocs are a little sloppy like that. So this was a good example. And one kind of paper and pencil style, right? So taking a template and typing in where you can, your inputs, outputs, customers, and then handwriting in your process steps. So not letting a document or electronics stop you from doing it. Handwrite it in. It doesn't matter. It's still good. So this was pretty well in depth for changing motorcycle oil. What goes into it, right? Dirty oil gets recycled. Usually you'd only have to write the customer once. Recycling center, right, is used for oil, filter, maybe the containers, right? There's same thing with the suppliers. You only have to list yourself once. It doesn't have to be the straight across who supplied what input. You can, but it could get really in depth if Walmart supplied 72 things. All right, so SciPocs were pretty straightforward. Some of you spent more time of it than others, and I probably mentioned that personally. All right, so on to the CTQ tree. Again, some really great examples. And really the difference maker came down to the measures. And I'll show you some examples. The measures, if at all possible, should be numerical. So then you can measure if you got better or not. Here's an amenity, complimentary snack and drink. Serve one of each every 2 hours. So it's how many with time. Reduce layovers by 10%. Standard boarding time must be within 90% of it, or new seating will be created. Right, so there's numericals whenever on some of these. They're not always possible, but if you want to create good measures, get to a numerical. Right, so here's the car, safety cost, warranty, airbags, budgets, worth the extra cost on the warranty. But to those measures, at least 10 airbags. So how is safety defined to this individual? Right, a rating of 4.5 to 5 on Edmunds, right? So it's how I define safety, or you define safety. It's not the same. Same thing as cost within budget. Obviously, our budgets aren't going to be the same, nor will our expected miles per gallon. Right? This, at least 35 miles per gallon, so we can kind of guess this is going to be a compact kind of car, probably a 4-cylinder. Right? They're not shopping for a truck or a minivan, right? Unless it's a hybrid. And then decide how long you're going to keep the 5 years. Less than 5 years, no. Greater than 5 years, yes. So it might depend on which vehicle you buy if you think you're going to keep it longer. Right? So it got to a numerical rating. Even the Edmunds, the rating number. You know, if you search things by rating on Amazon, you can do it by 3-star, 4-star, and whatnot. Thought I had another one. Guess not. So anyway, yes, try to get the CTQ measures to a numerical measure. I commented that on quite a few of them. Nothing necessarily wrong, but it's just rewording it and adding in a metric. But you can't say it gets good gas mileage. I don't know what good means to you, or good means to me is completely different. So putting those in numerical language. All right, so that was week 2. This is the feedback. Hopefully you getting a little more feeling for my grading. Now we're getting into a little more of the in-depth Lean Six Sigma conversations. And so it's a little more critical than the first 2 weeks. So there'll be some right and some wrong answers. It's not so subjective anymore. I'm going to expect a little higher quality. It's not as fluff as the brainstorming and multi-voting. So make sure you follow the directions well. Make sure you watch the videos. The video lectures, there's a lot of good information in there. I'm not saying you have to watch it, repeat it, and take copious notes watching it, but throw one earbud in and listen to me talk over it. You'll probably pick up some really great information. And it'll help you get through the assignments. If you try to do the assignments without watching the video, usually it's pretty evident. And then my sympathy meter drops a little bit if towards the end of the course you're a few points short of a certain letter grade. So make sure you watch the videos. They're usually not horribly long, most of them 2.5 hours. I always shoot for the lunch break length video. I know most of you are working, but hopefully you can squeak in a half hour somewhere. Binge one less episode. All right, so on to the next week. Thank you.